correctly with the correct one.
Good evening, radio fans. We are now back in the studio. Stand by for your station announcement. And away we go!
Now, I know you'd love to just sit there and keep being not slim, but we got to work a little today, okay?
Broadcasting channels of the entire world will be cleared. In every continent, in every land, in all the four corners of the earth, the whole world over. Men, and women, and children, of every age and race, and nationality, station, and color. Men of every language ready now to listen to the same voice.
So, is this on?
Finally, a way to combine my love of helping people with my love of hurting people.
So sit back, pop open a cold bottle of Brazilian mineral water, enjoy some poached salmon with capers, and adjust the satellite, because we have a great show.
And there was much rejoicing.
Unleash the fury.
Unleash the fury!
Ladies and gentlemen of the universe, the next voice you hear.
It's Erik Nagel.
It's another edition of It's Erik Nagel, and that is me. My name is Erik Nagel. E-Rock Radio on Twitter and Instagram, and joining me this week once again is my buddy Gittles. Hi, Gittles.
Yo, what's going on, brother?
Gittle Base on Twitter. Do you have Instagram too?
Yeah, same thing.
You do anything with either one of them?
Yeah, I take lots of pictures of weird shit I see, and then I'm like, I'll check it out later, and then I forget to, so you can check it out. Might be something cool on there.
Like, follow, block, report for spam. Any one of those works.
Yeah, I might actually post pictures of actual spam, too.
It's our Comic-Con special. New York Comic-Con for 2014 has come and gone.
Boo.
But we have a lot of interviews that we did.
Yay.
And we're going to feature them here today. If we can fit everything in. We got a lot of stuff.
Dude, we had so many interviews. I felt like we were just running around. It was crazy.
I'm amazed at all the access that we were given to it.
Yeah, it was serious access.
And, you know, I got to thank the people at Fox and FX, and Disney was great,
yeah,
and
Disney was awesome.
NBC was also amazing, giving us unprecedented access to a lot of these big shows. We were in a great spot. We talked to a lot of people. We talked to, and of course my phone closes out the list. Here it is. We talked to the people from Archer.
Yep.
The League, Constantine on NBC, which is coming soon, and Sci-Fi's 12 Monkeys.
Yep.
Disney Big Hero 6.
That was pretty cool.
And the one and only legendary voice actor, Billy West.
You may know him from everything.
Everything. Or the Cheerios B.
The Cheerios
or
B.
The M&M.
Or the M&M M.
Yeah. Futurama. The list goes on.
You know him.
He's pretty much the modern Mel Blanc.
Yeah.
But anyway, New York Comic Con was a lot of fun. We did a lot of interviews, but we also got a chance to walk the floor, and not as many exhibits this year as in previous years, and it's because mostly the video game companies were not here this year.
There wasn't a lot. I mean, there was the new Alien video game that was set up, and then they had those couple of little like booth things.
Capcom was there.
Yeah, Capcom was there, and then they had like these little booths where you'd sign up and go in, and they'd show you like video game footage of an upcoming game, but you didn't actually get to play it. Like lots of stuff like that.
Last year, Nintendo had a big pavilion for Mario 3D.
Yeah.
For the 3DS, and also 3D World for the Wii U. So they had a whole big platform there where you could go and try all the games, and the new Zelda game. PlayStation 4 was there last year.
But there was no console people there at all.
There was nothing,
there was
not
nothing.
even PC gaming.
No, there was nothing a lot.
I'm trying to think what else was there. Lego had a big pavilion for...
Yeah, they had like that Bionicle thing, and it had the almost like the Olmec like mask made out of Legos sitting there. That was pretty cool.
And it looked like that Temple show from Nickelodeon. Legend of the Hidden Temple.
And there was actually a group of cosplayers there as all the teams from Legends of the Hidden Temple. Like,
really?
Yeah, the Silver Snakes, like the Blue Barracudas, like they were all there with the helmets on and everything. I saw them walking around on the floor.
Did you ever want one of those shirts?
Oh, yeah. You can just go to hiddentempletshirts.com and buy them, I think.
I always wanted a shirt from a show which predated that called Wild and Crazy Kids.
Wild and Crazy Kids was awesome. And Finders Keepers, too.
Right. Was that the one with the house?
Yeah, they had to ransack the house looking for keys.
Did you ever play it at home?
Oh, yeah. My parents hated it.
Yeah, my parents did, too.
Why are you ruining everything?
Me and my younger sister,
game.
we'd hide something in a room, and then you would time yourself, and you're going through ripping dressers apart, flipping mattresses, just like you see in the show, and you find whatever it was that was hidden, but you don't win the cool prize, like a brand new Schwinn.
Yeah, you get like 2 weeks of detention, or a punishment rather, because you just crashed your whole house looking for a matzah.
Or a brand new computer that has, VGA color monitor.
Woohoo!
But yeah, Comic-Con was fun. 4 days is more than enough. Comic-Con's like Vegas. by day 4, you're like, why am I still here?
Yeah.
3 days is enough. Even 2 days might be enough to satisfy your desire to be there. But there's a lot of good shopping, a lot of good stuff. The panels were bigger this year than they ever been.
The panels were huge. When the Walking Dead panel started,
the floor cleared.
It was amazing. You could walk down the aisles and like put your arms out and spin around and sing and dance, and you wouldn't even hit anybody because everybody was at the Walking Dead panel.
And you ran into a guest that we were supposed to get, but they had to cancel.
Oh, yeah, Robert Smigel. And Triumph.
And Jack McBrayer.
And Jack McBrayer, yeah.
Yeah. What were they doing on the floor?
And Tay Zonday. He was there, too.
Yeah, what were they doing with the Chocolate Rain guy?
They were doing, I believe it was a Triumph sketch for Saturday Night Live.
Okay.
And they had Triumph trying to sell old collectibles that he's had at Comic-Con, and they were trying to see how much he can get for Tay Zonday because he's been in his closet for 7 years and hasn't appreciated in value.
Let's get to let's start some of the interviews here. Let's start with Archer. Have you seen Archer?
I started watching it.
Archer is on FX. It's got a new season coming soon. Let's go talk to the Archer panel. Aisha Tyler, hello.
Hi, how's it going?
I have to say, outside of Archer, I am a fan of yours. I got turned on to your podcast from Jay Moore.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
The podcast is Girl on Guy, and a couple of weeks ago you had Bert Kreischer on, which was hysterical.
Yeah, I love Bert. I mean, I've known Bert and Jay for 10 years at least. Jay maybe 15, and Jay and I we did a home and away together really early on in both our podcast lives. So it was like really, really early in my first season. He's a very good old friend. In deep need of psychological assistance, but I love him very much.
You're here for Archer, which is going to come out in 2015, and you play Lana. I almost screamed it, but that would be inappropriate.
Yeah, you got it right.
This year, you have a baby.
Yes, well, not me. Oh, good Lord, that would wreck all my junk. But Lana has a baby. I think it's going to be a really interesting season because she's just juggling trying to be a working mom, and also trying to shoot people, which is a unique set of circumstances for a mother, and trying to deal with Archer's efforts at co-parenting. I don't think she really wants him to co-parent. I think he's volunteered, and then he's just kind of sucking at it. And she's like, "It's fine. You can just stay being a douchebag. I don't need you to try to change." But he keeps kind of, ramping back up and trying to get in there. It'll be cute to see how deeply and intensely he fails.
What else can we expect from Lana in this new season?
Well, I mean, the whole team is trying to figure out how to get back to fundamentals. I mean, I think they were obviously on the lam last year, and now they're trying to come back in from out of the cold, and presents its own set of unique circumstances. They weren't particularly good spies before. I think people were so in love with them when they were at the agency, but they constantly were blowing it. I think it's one of the things that's so endearing about this group of people is you really care about their relationships more than you care about how effective they are as an espionage team. But they're trying to rebuild something that's deeply broken, and they're not a very effective team. So it's going to be interesting to see them try to put things back together.
Also, last season, it seems that good fortune was bestowed upon you where they lost the agency, and now ISIS is a dirty word.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting time for the show. The terrorists apparently have won. Look, that's been the name on the show for years. It's also the name of like 97,000 other things, and everybody's like having a big sweet potato crap about it. But it's not like we had the name and then there was nobody else, and now it's just us and the terrorists. It's like also like a Greek goddess and some shitty VHS tape stores in the middle of the country. I mean, a lot of people have the name.
Do you think it affects the merchandising for Archer, though?
Not in the end. No, our merchandise isn't very good. It won't affect anything.
You haven't seen a lot of the shirts down there?
I've seen it. What'll be great is that down the line, that stuff's going to all be collector's items. So everybody who's got something with ISIS on it should hold on to it.
Why is there no Lana shirts?
I don't know. I think the bigger question is, why am I not getting money for all the shirts that are out there?
Look, I asked this question to a lot of people, especially those who work in animation or who work in big studio projects where they've written and created, and there's a merchandise and a toy line. When product started coming out for Archer, did they give you anything for free, or did you have to go and actually buy your own product?
They've offered us stuff, we just haven't really loved very much of it. We go with our team, on the guys who, Matt and Adam, the guys at Floyd County, make t-shirts every year. They make like special crew t-shirts, and that's the stuff we really treasure because it's stuff that just goes to cast and crew. It's really unique. Last year they did a t-shirt from this was a Vietnamese motorcycle company, like Kuong t-shirt, and that was actually on the Slater character in the season, so that's a really special shirt. So we have our own kind of like interior stuff that we do as a group, but I think Amber's got the dolphin. She's got the original blue dolphin. There's a pink dolphin circulating right now. Not regulation. Pink dolphin is not regulation. So I refuse to even acknowledge the pink dolphin because it's an imposter.
Aisha, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
I'm Amber Nash, and I play Pam Poovey.
I have to ask you, when is the dolphin coming back?
You know what? I don't know. And that's a very good question. I'm like, we never see this guy. He's in all the promotional materials, but we never see him. Not since season 1, I don't think. Right. So I don't know if he's ever coming back. I think now it might be like a point of pride to Adam that the dolphin is never coming back.
It's a silhouette in the intro.
Yeah, I know. I don't know I don't know if it's ever coming back.
And we saw it on the floor. There's the blue dolphin, and as Aisha Tyler told us, there's a pink dolphin, which we know is not a sanctioned property from Archer there, but the blue dolphin is out there in the public.
That's right. And there's also a gray dolphin floating around from the same company. And I think the gray dolphin was maybe like a small batch, like a special batch for San Diego Comic-Con. I don't know.
Did they give you one of those?
Yeah, actually, one of my favorite things that I got is a dolphin pot holder, like a hot mitt, and it actually works really good. You just open his little mouth and you pull things out of the oven.
It was a great storyline last season where they were, and ridiculous, to sell cocaine to the drug cartels in Colombia. Now you're back. There's a baby. You merged with the CIA. People are trying to figure everything out here. What's in store for Pam? Is there maybe some kind of love interest, or does she start getting into that mode of, well, she's now jealous that somebody has a baby, that maybe she wants a baby?
There isn't a love interest, which I really want. Like, I really want to see Pam, like, maybe do some online dating and like find a guy for like 3 episodes. I think it'd be really fun. Or a gal.
What about like Tinder?
Tinder would be awesome and so perfectly Pam. But she'd be using it the way it was intended to be used, by just like random hookups with dudes in a parking lot.
She'd use Cheryl's photo.
Oh my God, that's such a great idea. You just wrote episode 9.
All right. I want a figure.
So sorry, what was the question? What does Pam get into? Is that what you asked?
Yeah, what do we see in store for Pam? Is there some kind of love life? Does she have any jealousy about the baby? Did she want to have a baby?
No, she doesn't have any jealousy about the baby, but I think she really likes the baby. I think she's one of the only people that's actually equipped to be left alone with this child. Every time the child is left alone with anybody, like she gets left alone with Krieger, and it's the most terrifying thing. Like there's nothing more scary. Like just reading it on the page, I was terrified. So I think she actually likes the baby quite a bit. And did I tell you about the wedding?
No.
So her sister gets married. Pam's sister, Edie, gets married, and they go back to Poovey Farms for the wedding, which is a super fun episode. So I can't wait to see what Edie looks like. I hope it's just like Pam with red hair, like the Hanna-Barbera style Pam. Yeah.
What about if it's like Cam from Modern Family?
Oh my God, that'd be awesome. Dude, you got to get a deal with FX and start writing these shows.
You heard that, Adam Reed? Amber, thank you so much. I love the Pam character. I'd love to see the dolphin return. Maybe even if it's little Easter eggs where the baby all of a sudden now has a little stuffed dolphin.
Great idea. Again, you clearly should be writing this show.
I agree with you 100%. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Christian Slater.
How are you? This is the first time I've ever been to this New York Comic-Con, so I'm enjoying it, and being here with this group of people is wonderful.
Your character last year in Archer, didn't know if there was any longevity to it once they left South America, but it seems that you're here now.
Yeah, look, I'm just as surprised as you are. I'm very happy. I'm a huge fan of the show, and to get to continue on with this character, I think it's kind of a mysterious character. I'm interested about him. I'm a little bit now like the guy that they have to check in with, and I send them off on some missions, and I create some problems for him and Lana, and help a little bit with the babysitting. And Adam was just describing to me what some of the future episodes are going to be. And look, I'm just looking forward to lending my voice and having a good time with it. I mean, it's such a great cast and great group of people. And again, to be here with them is a lot of fun.
How long was the process for doing the vocal work for Archer? Did it coincide with you having to juggle your schedule for Mind Games?
Well, there were a couple times when I was in Chicago, but recording this stuff nowadays is so, there's recording studios everywhere, so you can just pop in. And like I said, it doesn't require a great deal. Certainly for the Slater character at this point, he's sort of been sporadically in and out of things, so it hasn't been a boatload of work for me, so it hasn't required a great deal of time. So it's really just been fun.
Anything else you could note about the Slater character for this upcoming season before we go?
Anything?
Any kind of love interest, maybe?
That I honestly don't know. I mean, Adam was just describing to me some of the future things that were going to be happening, and it all sounded very, it's like he was telling me these things, and he was like, but only if you want to, only if you want to. I was like, dude, of course I do. I'm completely committed and 100% into this. So wherever he wants to go with it is fine with me.
One last question. Gleaming the Cube 2, going to happen?
Yes, working on that. I've been working on my triple fakies and, skateboarding under trucks and just preparing. I mean, there's no contract or no idea for it, but I still, like to ride around and, dream big.
Thank you very much, man. I am here with H. John Benjamin. Can I just call you John, or can I call you H?
You can call me H. John Benjamin, if you don't mind.
I am speaking to a gentleman who's been in a lot of major animations throughout my entire life here, from Dr. Katz all the way up to your current project here, Archer, Bob's Burgers as well. Archer is an amazing character and a whole ensemble where all this time has gone by and we've seen growth, whether it be good or bad, except for Archer.
Are you done? Yes. Archer is like a real grown-up baby to a degree. Probably the best portrait of a grown-up baby ever on television. And I think I've done similar characters like that, but Bob is much different. Bob is a pretty responsible guy and pretty grounded. So, yeah, Archer's nuts.
How did the whole crossover last season come about between Bob's Burger and Archer?
Adam Reed, the creator of Archer, came up with it. He just called. He asked me. I don't think he knew the Bob's Burgers people very well. He didn't know Lauren very well. He asked me to kind of play middleman and ask. He's a fan of Bob's Burgers, so it turned out great. I was kind of like, I thought it would be gimmicky, but it wasn't at all. So that worked out great.
The new season of Archer is coming in early 2015. Archer now has to deal with a baby. How does this work out?
He really fucks it up. He fucks up another baby. He's fucked up a few. This could be this is the second baby. I don't know how badly he fucked up the first baby, but he's in no position to really be a dad. I think he has the hope or the idealism that he'll be able to handle it. And that's the problem with Archer. His idealism is childlike, and you don't want a child to have a baby.
With all the animation work that you've done over the years, and God bless you, because there's people who are trying to do it and don't succeed, or do get a job here or there but don't have the longevity that you do. How does that come about? You just seem to fall into project after project after project, and all of them are incredibly well written, they're hysterical, and they are successful.
I'm really good.
It's a great answer. It's very true.
Yeah. I mean, whatever I do is good because I'm in it.
How do you... That is such a McGurk line. It's such an Archer line. How do you figure out the personalities you're going to do with all these characters?
Well, it's funny. McGurk, from Home Movies, in good part, I've been lucky to work with really good people. Lauren Bouchard and Adam Reed are very similar to the extent that they are built to make animated shows. They want to do it. They love that medium, and they are also, really uniquely talented in their own way. But they want to make animated shows. So to be a part of that, I think that's why the shows have succeeded, and I just sort of help that along. So I'm a good little helper. But it's really the people who make the shows that are more important to the process, and I've just been lucky.
This new season of Archer, what can we expect?
Archer dies.
Well, there you have it. There's a spoiler for you.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that was a bit of a spoiler. I'm still working on the whole concept of spoilers, so you have to forgive me.
John Benjamin, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. I love every project that you have done, and I can't wait to see what else you come up with.
Thanks a lot. Thanks. I might disappoint you. I might.
It's Erik Nagel.
York Comic Con.
Yes, back here on It's Eric Nagel. That is me, and my buddy Gittles is here, and we're talking about all the stuff that we did at New York Comic Con 2014. It has come and gone, but we had a lot of interviews and a lot of the stuff still yet to get to here. We just talked to the whole cast of Archer.
It was pretty awesome.
Which was insane. And to hear the voices and then see the people, if you didn't know some of the actors, you're like, wow, you look nothing like what your voice sounds.
Yeah, H. John Benjamin just looks like a little angry sailor. It's pretty funny.
He looks like a retired Navy guy.
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh, I got to deal with these young punks. I want to talk about Rick and Morty real quick before we get into the next panel here. Rick and Morty, we went to the panel, but they were running late. And unfortunately, they had to scrub the one-on-one interviews. And what they do is in some of these interview sessions, they have round tables where the cast will split up and go to different tables and talk to people. But people have their microphones set up in the middle of the table, and then they fight for questions to ask the talent there. And I had to pass on that because it doesn't make good radio.
It just doesn't.
I don't know if any of this is making good radio, but I know that would be worse by recording off the round table there. So I politely had to decline, and they understood, all the people at Adult Swim. They were very nice about it. But they gave me some Rick and Morty DVD sets that are signed that we will give away at a later date, which I thought was really cool, and Dan Harmon couldn't have been nicer.
Yeah, it's a great little prize to get. It's signed by Justin, Dan Harmon, and Chris Parnell.
Yes,
it's really cool. You want it.
So we'll give that away, not today, but at another time. Maybe we'll ramp this up for Christmas. Big Christmas Comic-Con giveaway. I'll post a photo at E-Rock Radio on Twitter and Instagram.
Can we talk about, for a quick second, some of the roundtable bloggers who were dressed like Batman and Superman, doing interviews? And it's like, really, Batman? Like, oh, let's call on Batman for this question. It's so weird.
I don't know if I think it might have been Constantine.
Yeah.
That there was a guy dressed up as Egon Spangler in his full Ghostbusters jumper, and he's trying to conduct an interview, not a one-on-one, just at the table. How do you feel as a talent for a new show where you have to sit down and you look at these people? And look, you got to understand, you got to appreciate the bloggers and the fans of the show and whatever.
Yeah, no hate.
So you got to give them, you got to give them time. But how do you take it seriously when you're promoting a new show like Constantine? And you got to take questions seriously from a guy dressed up as a Ghostbuster. But
Constantine's like, yeah, I'm a Ghostbuster too.
And then some of them taking it way too seriously, more than some of the legitimate media like SiriusXM. AP was there, People Magazine, I think Time was there as well. And those guys were nice, and they were doing their job and taking it seriously and being professional. But then you get some of these bloggers where they just have a camera and a microphone, and they make up their own little mic flag for it, and they think that they're, top shit, and they're just going to elbow you out of the way, and you go, get the hell out of my line.
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing here? Get out of the way,
when they try to leech in on your conversations and stuff, you're not getting a big scoop here. Sorry,
no, you're really not.
So let's go to the next panel here. We'll talk to the people from The League.
Okay.
Are you familiar with The League?
I watched the first season of it when it was on a while ago, but I didn't really
keep up with it. You definitely have to catch up. All 5 seasons are on Netflix. Season 6 is currently now on FXX. You can watch those on demand. I recommend it. It's a funny show, and each year it just keeps getting worse and worse as far as the cruelty to each other and the gags that they go through. But that being said, it's better and better every year.
That's awesome.
So don't take it the wrong way. It's a great show. You definitely need to check it out. We spoke to Steve, who I can never pronounce his last name, but Paul Scheer was there, and Nick Kroll.
Yep.
So, what a get. Here it is, The League. I'm here with Nick Kroll from The League, and got to tell you, from your appearances on the Opie with Jim Norton show.
Yes.
I've been meaning to watch The League forever, and it wasn't until your last appearance where I said, all right, you know what? It's on Netflix. I'm going to catch up, and then I'm going to watch the FXX network for it, and I got hooked. I started binge watching, and then I found out FXX does not have on demand.
Really?
With Verizon Fios.
Oh.
So I had to go through Means Online to find season 6. And
is that how you're going to say Means Online?
Yeah, Means Online.
Yeah.
I gotta say, it's just each season just keeps getting better and better.
Thank you.
Season 6, you're in Korea just because they wanted to send you, and you're trying to follow along online, and everything is either you're right on point or you're a few seconds behind, which is a perfect way to portray it. And you keep getting yelled at by a guy who you either think you think is the janitor or your boss.
Right.
How are you enjoying Korea?
Korea was a great experience for Ruxin. He really learned. He's a real international, a real bon vivant traveler of the world. It was really fun. It's like it's always then when we're able to do things like that, and if it works, it's like it does touch on stuff that happens in real life, which is now people are on FaceTime, people are Skyping, and like it does. You're like, shit, I want to be a part of this, and yet it's sort of like you can't really make it happen effectively.
Another great episode from this season was with your son playing Little League and accidentally, the kid stole a bottle of testosterone gel, and you decided that you needed to keep juicing your kid.
Yes, that is from the Rafael Palmeiro archive. That kid has now been on the show. Adam's been on the show for the last, I think this is his third season. He's a funny kid. Was able to play and understood the joke. And like originally when his voice is deep, we were like, oh, well, we'll do it and then they'll fix it in post. But he actually was able to like make a convincing, like deep voice for like a 7-year-old. It was slightly disturbing, but it was great.
I saw you on Jimmy Fallon, and you told the story about Bill Murray, which is every comic's dream and nightmare at the same time.
That's true. It really was my dream and nightmare to meet your idol, ask him to watch you perform. He decides to come down and then bombing. It was the worst experience of my life, but it and I really don't know what lesson I learned from it. Truly, because I'm like, the lesson is don't take chances.
Don't meet your heroes.
Yeah, don't meet your heroes. It's true though, by the way. I mean, I've been able to meet a lot of my heroes at this point, and it is an amazing part of comedy that, because also luckily comedians for the most part are pretty nice guys and women, and they're happy to sort of chat, and if they sort of have some idea that you're doing a similar thing, it's a very collaborative community. Comedy is inherently a pretty collaborative world, and so you get to meet people who you've looked up to, and oftentimes they don't disappoint. Unfortunately, in the case of me and Bill Murray, I was the one who was disappointing.
The League Season 6 is on FXX right now. Do we have word of a Season 7? Maybe a movie, something?
We're definitely doing an action movie. I can tell you that. Ruxin's in Korea. It's the follow-up to Seth Rogen and James Franco's movie, The Interview. Ruxin goes over to defend them, and then gets caught up in a sex trade. He gets sold into sex slavery to a very obese, elderly North Korean woman, and then it becomes Taken.
Will we see more of the Nick Kroll show?
Yes, Kroll show's coming back in January on Comedy Central. I don't have a specific date yet, but it's season 3, and it's going to be pretty bananas. It gets bigger and badder and crazier.
I love young Billy Joel.
Thank you. We've got a more Larry Bird coming this season, and Billy.
Have you heard from Billy or Larry about these?
No, they don't. Neither of those guys seem like they would be interested in sketch comedy, to be honest. Although I bet Billy Joel is a comedy fan. I don't know if he's seen it. I don't know, but it's so fun to do, and it's so random to choose those guys.
Nick Kroll, thank you very much. The League Season 6 on FXX right now. I'm here with Stephen and Paul from The League, and guys, this is a very exciting day. I've only recently become a super fan of the show. Nick was on our show not too long ago. I did the binge watching on Netflix, and now I'm on Season 6 on FXX, and this show is just insane.
Yeah, we every year it gets almost worse and worse with the behavior that we display. Yeah, I mean, look, it's only... I don't know how people still continue to support us. I really don't.
Is the whole process just to make it so cringing and so unbelievable that you're just trying to say, look, people have to leave at some point?
I mean, stuff that we've done on the show, we're like, is this going to play? I don't really know, and we'll see. We'll find out.
We were like really nervous about the episode where Katie pretends to have cancer. Like, oh, we're going to take a hit on this. And most of the comments I read, and I feel like this is our fans are turning now. They're like, you didn't go far enough. Like, our fans don't, like, we're bastardizing our fans. We're making them worse people.
Yeah.
So we can take credit in that.
And when we actually get to the Ray Rice thing, that's going to be our moment where people are like, no, we're done with this show.
I gotta say, I wish the Teflon Dre thing ran a little bit longer.
I know everyone says that. I did too. I feel like this season, though, ultimately, Andre has been a little less of a punching bag and kind of back to more like second season Andre, where it's more less cruel. I mean, he was literally just getting pounded nonstop by these guys. And it's like, why hasn't he killed himself or left this group of friends? So I think that they needed to like kind of switch it up this year. And so I think Tough Andre started it on a good track, and now we're just.
And Kevin took the lion's share this year of the abuse because I won the Sacco last year, I'm the worst, and now I'm living with the person Katie who won the Shiva, and now it's affecting my relationship in the bedroom and low testosterone. So yeah, this was a tough uphill battle for Kevin this year. But I think the episode that we screened tonight sort of gives Kevin a pivot and kind of brings out his inner, I guess Rafi would call his inner Brian. So there's some strength shown.
I love the beginning of the season this year where you're having a nightmare.
We faked the combine and had a couple first round picks come in, and that was awesome. That was just a day for me to get like fantasy camp and run around with like professional athletes. I ran the 40 with Mike Evans, and at one point I was like, well, let me just see what I can do. And I turned on my jets a bit, and I felt him go past me. Like he saw what I was doing, I felt him. I didn't see him, I just felt like a swoosh that just went right past me.
I love you running down the line, you're supposed to turn catch, you're getting pelted until it hits you right in the head and you're knocked out. Then they come over and start throwing it at your groin while you're laying on the ground.
They never, those machines just keep going. So yeah, the blasted me in the taint, it was just, it was horrible.
You guys work really well. It really shows that you're good friends. You've worked on other projects outside of the league, and you also have your own individual projects. You do stand up. You have a special out right now.
Yeah, I have a special called Man Child that's out now, and I'm going to go on tour in November with a new hour that I think I'm going to call the Strawberry Blonde Ambition Tour, and then hopefully film it for another hour special.
And Paul has a very successful podcast who, I love the podcast, but I don't think you're going to find a bigger fan of your podcast than my buddy Brian here. Brian, do you want to ask him anything about it?
No, I just want to say thank you for having such an awesome podcast.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
I was telling Nick that it's hard to find on certain cable systems, because FXX is kind of new, the on-demand feature. So you have to go through Fox Now and some other things, and if your cable company doesn't have it, you're kind of screwed if you missed an episode or didn't DVR it this season.
You sound like my dad. My dad says the same thing. He's like, I can't even find this thing. I'm like,
well, here's the thing. Now that iTunes has the FX app, and basically if you have iTunes, you'll never miss it. Yeah. And it's kind of reasonably priced. It's like only $2, but the FX app is now going a little bit wider. It's definitely on Xbox.
It's on Apple TV.
And it's on Apple TV. So that is good. I think that will help.
What can you tell us about what we're going to expect for the rest of this season of the league?
We're going to have great guest stars, and Marshawn Lynch is going to be on the show. We get to find out who wins the Shiva, which I still honestly don't even know who wins the Shiva. So the playoffs are huge, implications, and
return of some characters from the past coming back, and the opening of Andre's wine bar. Yep. A lot of things are going to be happening. And then obviously we're going to find out who's going to win the beach house. I mean, that's the big question.
Plug your podcast and then plug your special.
You can listen to How Did This Get Made every week. Just go to How Did This Get Made, or on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
And SteveRenizisi.com for tour dates. So check out SteveRenizisi.com for tour and tickets.
Awesome. Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Erik Nagel. You rock. Well, he'll be right back.
Let's do it up. Beat.
Now, it's Erik Nagel.
It's Erik Nagel. My name is Erik Nagel, and my buddy Gittles is right over there looking at me, oddly.
Howdy.
And we're talking about New York Comic Con 2014, which we had the privilege of being there, talking to a bunch of different people. And on this particular day that we were there at New York Comic Con, we got a media alert from Dark Horse Comics that they were just announcing a new crossover series that's coming out in 2015. And when I saw the graphic, I said, this is so beyond ridiculous. We need to go over there and talk to anybody about this.
Yeah.
And
it's so crazy.
Thanks to our buddy Ob Driver over there at Dark Horse Comics. He got us in touch with Alex Di Campi. She does the Grindhouse series over there, but she's also the one who penned the storyline for The Predator Meets Archie. And so we go over to Dark Horse and we talk to Alex, and she'll explain what this is all about.
It's fantastic.
here down at Dark Horse Comics, and we're speaking with writer Alex Di Campi about the new press release we just saw today for probably one of the most unusual pairings and crossovers in comic history, Predator and the Archies. What can you tell us about this?
It's a dream project. I take a wonderful, gentle, beloved teen series and kill them slowly and horribly, one by one. And, you know, Predator was one of my favorite movies growing up. Anyone who doesn't love Predator, frankly, can get off my planet. If you haven't seen the original Predator, go just do it. It's a wonderful, like, very scary, a lot of fun action film, and it's a dream project.
So how does one get the permission to do that?
They just came to me and they said, fancy writing Archie versus Predator? And I'm like, to bear shit in the woods. And then we had a conference call between me, my editors at Dark Horse, and the editors at Archie, who I didn't know, but I'd heard really good things about. And the Archie guys were incredibly supportive. They were even like, well, when are we going to kill off this character? And I'm like, you really want to kill off that character? And they're like, oh yeah. The art is going to be by Fernando Ruiz, who's one of the great classic Archie artists. He has this really beautiful, light, like, it looks like a really easy line, but, like, let me tell you, you have to work really hard to make a line look that easy. And so the series overall is going to feel a bit more like Final Destination than it's going to feel like the Archie Horrorverse stuff, because you're not going to open it up and immediately think, oh, this is going to be a dark book. It's going to be really bright and shiny, and the kids are going to look cute and perky, and then we're going to skin them.
Are we going to see any other possible characters' spines and skulls from other series in this? Like, maybe the Predator has already killed, or is it just going to be straight Archie, like, trophies?
I think he's saying, is there going to be any Easter eggs in this comic?
Yeah, basically.
Oh yes, but mostly right now I'm trying to get Predator Easter eggs in there. I'm trying to get as many like Easter eggs and fun bits from the original film into the book as I possibly can.
This is coming out now, April 2015.
Yes, I've done the full outline and it's going through around everybody for approvals. The only thing that makes me sort of sad is that I want to put Archie in a Gundam suit to fight Predator, because what are the best things in life, Conan? I'm like, let's take all the really awesome things and put them in one comic. In fact, let's just cram them into one issue.
Thank you so much, Alex Di Campi. We look forward to it coming out of Dark Horse Comics in April in 2015. And if you can, I'm sure you're going to be doing some signings and stuff. I'm going to get a copy, and I hope you would sign it.
Thanks a lot. If people can't wait, they should check out my second season of my Grindhouse series. The first trade from the first season is out now. And the second season starts on November 17th with a 2-part Christmas horror story.
Where are you on Twitter?
Alex Di Campi. Like, pretty much on all social media, I am ALEXDECAMPI.
Thank you very much.
It's Eric Nagel at New York Comic Con. New York Comic Con.
Back on It's Eric Nagel, and let's move on to Constantine from NBC. Are you familiar with Constantine?
A little bit.
Okay. Constantine, for those of you who don't know, is part of a comic book series called Hellblazer. And this is their adaptation for television. A couple of years ago, they did it with Keanu Reeves for a movie. Now it's here on television with Matt Ryan. We get a chance to talk to him. He's the lead. He plays John Constantine. And he's pretty much an exorcist who is trying to do the right thing, but winds up doing the wrong thing, and is still trying to repay his debt and fix things. And very tortured. A lot of demons and supernatural stuff. It's pretty cool. It's going to be on Friday nights, I think 10 p.m. on NBC.
Yeah.
So here it is, Matt Ryan from Constantine.
My name is John Constantine. I'm the one who steps from the shadows, all trench coat and arrogance. I'll drive your demons away, kick them in the bollocks, and spit on them when they're down, leaving only a nod and a wink and a wisecrack. I'll walk my path alone, because let's be honest, who'd be crazy enough to walk it with me?
I'm here with Matt Ryan, the star of Constantine, which debuts on October 24th on NBC. It's great to finally meet you, man.
Oh, thanks, man. You too.
Constantine is an incredible role to land. How familiar were you with Constantine and Hellblazer before getting this role?
I wasn't really familiar with the comic books, to be honest with you. I'd seen the movie, but didn't really associate it with the comic books after I started reading them. I had a really good friend of mine who it's his favorite character, it's his favorite comic book series, and he'd been telling me about it for years and years. years, so it's always been in the background. And then when I got the role, he was like, right, okay, I need to sit you down and I need to tell you about this character. And he kind of like took me through it all. So it was great because I had a real fan kind of taking me through it and telling me about it, you know.
Well, you have him filling you in on everything. Did you then get a chance to maybe read any of the books?
I started reading the comics. I jumped around a bunch. You know, I read the Newcastle stuff, the Swamp Thing when he was first introduced, and the Dangerous Habits, which is still my favorite to this day. And there's still a lot more to get through, man. I'm trying. You know, but with the busy schedule we have, you know, it's going to be a long time.
I saw the first episode, and you definitely fit perfectly into the role here. One thing I did notice is that when they were talking about his past, they said, you know, you're an exorcist, but in the comics, he's really sort of a troubled, failed magician that went into the occult and everything like that. They seem to leave the magician part out. Was there any changing in the story for that, or is it just unnecessary?
No, I think that, you know, that's all there. I think that maybe just in that moment he says, you know, he's an exorcist, he's a demonologist, he's a master of the dark arts, he's a magician, he's all those things. All those things are still there.
The other thing too that I was glad they addressed in the first episode was about his family. Mm-hmm. And is there something maybe in the first season, will they do some flashbacks where we get to see John's family?
I don't know. That's something you'd have to ask the writers. I'd hope so, man. That's some really cool stuff. But you know, it's something that's always with John, and it's something that drives him. So you know, it's something that can come on at any time.
Now, there was an incredible reception to it at San Diego Comic-Con with all the Constantine stuff. It hasn't even aired yet, but the promos are going, and there's a lot of buzz built about it. Are you starting to notice people recognizing you as you're out in public?
To be honest with you, no. You know, I've just been, you know, going from my apartment to work and from work to my apartment, so I haven't been out much. It's actually really nice to be here at New York Comic Con because I feel like I've been let out, you know.
Yeah. You were also in the Assassin's Creed video game series. How awesome is that?
That was awesome, man. That was so much fun to do there, and that whole franchise is amazing. The team behind that series is amazing as well.
Are you a big gamer?
I'm not a huge gamer, but I do play. I like playing Assassin's Creed. It's so funny, like when you're actually playing with yourself. Do you know what I mean? And a bunch of my mates were like, "Can you keep the noise down?" And I was like, "It's not me, but it is me, but it's not really me," you know. And because there's my voice on the screen, and yeah, that's a fantastic game, and I still haven't finished it yet because it takes a lot of time, but it's a great game.
When you were getting ready to start doing everything for Constantine, table reads, reading the scripts, all that stuff, did they explain you not really being too familiar with the comic book series? Are they sticking pretty much close to the comic book series, or are they just using elements as a foundation and going in a different direction?
We're trying to stay true to the kind of the DNA of the comics and the comic book character. We're actually going to be pulling storylines directly out of the Hellblazer series, and then, you know, doing some of our own as well. So it's going to be a kind of an accumulation of the both. But you know, the one thing that's really important that David and Daniel have stressed from the beginning, and which I think is great for the fans, you know, the old and new fans, is that we're trying to stay true to the DNA of it, and obviously transposing this character and these stories from a comic book to the TV screen. You know, it's a different medium, so we have to kind of translate it in a way, and we're doing that. But yeah, it's staying true to the core DNA of the characters in the books.
Constantine debuts on NBC on October 24th. So my last question to you is: when Constantine has a full run, becomes a huge success and a smash for NBC, are you going to push for your own action figure?
Man, that would be awesome. I think you should push for it, man. That would be awesome. I really want my own action figure. That'd be cool.
Matt, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, my friend. Have a good one.
It's Erik Nagel at New York Comic Con.
Back here on It's Erik Nagel. My name is Erik Nagel, and that's my buddy Gittles over there. And we're doing all this stuff from New York Comic Con 2014. A lot of great interviews that we've plowed through so far, and we got to keep moving because we are running out of time. It's only an hour show. And we move on to legendary voice actor Billy West. Now, I ran into Billy on the floor. I didn't realize he was at the con, and I freaked out when I saw him. Nobody else knew, at least the younger people didn't recognize him. Maybe most people wouldn't recognize him because you'd only know him by his voice, not by his looks or visual projects. He's the guy behind the voice of the M&M character, the Cheerios Bee,
Professor Farnsworth, Fry, Futurama,
Zoidberg, Doug.
Ren and Stimpy.
If you watch Doug on Nickelodeon and ABC, Ren and Stimpy, right? Does a lot of the Looney Tune stuff, Bugs and Elmer Fudd. Pretty much, if you know who Mel Blanc is, Mel Blanc was a guy who could do almost every voice and did almost every voice.
Almost every voice.
And Billy West is is now the modern Mel Blanc here. And he did a lot of time on Howard's show. If you're a big radio fan in the late 80s, did a lot of voices for Howard's show. And when I saw him, I freaked out on many levels because he's the voice behind a lot of shows that I love. I used to listen to him on Howard when I was a kid. And so this is just all around exciting for myself.
And I'm very jealous because I was not walking around with you when you ran into Billy West. What was I doing? I was at Comic-Con buying Mad Libs. At Comic-Con. That was my graphic novel, Mad Libs. I have to fill in the words. It's not even finished.
Reading is hard.
It's hard.
Writing's even worse.
Yeah, and then Eric comes back, oh, I met Billy West. And I'm like, great, give me a noun.
Here's the legendary Billy West. So I'm walking around the Comic-Con floor here at New York Comic-Con 2014 in New York City, and I bump into one of the most infamous names in animation and even in our business of radio, Billy West.
Hey, I wouldn't say that, but I'm glad you did.
I grew up listening to you.
Well, you look fine to me. I mean, you look like you grew up nice and everything.
I grew up a well-adjusted young man thanks to the power of television.
Oh, that's cool.
Hey, Ren, will you button me? You shut up, you fool! Yes, I shall kill you! Man, all this constant exposure to radiation is making me thirsty. I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
You need an autograph? Why not Zoidberg? She's a beautiful ship, all right. I'm gonna fly her brains out.
Doing that voice, did they ever contact you when Phil Hartman died to maybe take over for Troy McClure? Or did they just want to use it as sort of like an homage to him for Futurama?
Well, he was originally supposed to do that. I knew Phil Hartman. He was very cool. He called me up when I still lived in New York, and he called me up at home. I don't know how he got my number. He wanted to say he was a fan, and I was like, whoa, I kind of know who you are too, you know? And he was nothing but generous. He said, you got to move out here, man. So all the work for somebody like you is out here. And I said, I don't know, I'm thinking about it, and which I did, I moved. And we did an M&M's commercial together. He played this not so cool candy bar named Chalky Bar. And of course he melts at poolside. And that might be the one where Tia Carrera takes a bite out of my head. You know, but I was laying in bed with my wife, and we couldn't sleep for some reason. And she was saying, how can you stand to be out here with all these people? Everybody wants a piece of you and all that. And she said, aren't there any good people? I said, yeah, you know who's great? Phil Hartman. That was the night he got murdered.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I miss him. But I mean, when I did talk to him all the time, we talked about our love of big dumb announcers. You know, coming to the Worcester Centrum. You know, they filled the air with words because they were so insecure that they were afraid to leave a space. And we love those big dumb announcers from the old days. So what I did was something that I would have done for Zapp Brannigan, you know, with that big dumb announcer voice. But it was also very reminiscent of Phil Hartman.
I've never known you not to be working. You do so many projects. What are you working on right now?
I just did 52 episodes for Disney. It's a show called The 7D. It's a kids show. And it's playing on 3 different Disney networks. And it's a big ratings one. I mean, already it's their new hit show. But I did Bashful, because it's a new version of Seven Dwarfs. The Seven Dwarfs never made anybody laugh. I'm sorry, ever. I never met anybody that went, oh yeah, high comedy. So they wanted me to do Bashful, and I said, what do you got, rocks in your head? Why are you asking me to do? All he does is peek out from stuff and blush, and I wanted to rock it, so I gave him a high-pitched, squeaky kind of voice, and he loves the Queen. He'll do anything to save the Queen. And so he goes,
we have to save Queen Delightful.
And all of a sudden, I mean now! Like that, and they loved it. The higher ups at Disney, I could have, you know, I mean, that was taking a huge chance. But I had to do something. I had to bring something to the table, to the character, otherwise it wouldn't rock.
You've had amazing opportunities to do so many different projects and have been very successful at it. With all this time and the success that you've had, is there some projects that you're looking at that one day that maybe you want to do that just hasn't even been pitched yet? Or is there something that you want to come up that's completely unique?
Well, I've always been an objective fulfillment machine for somebody else. I've been doing that. I'll continue to do it until they tell me don't come in anymore. But I developed and created a show with my partner from Ren and Stimpy days, and it's a kids show, preschool show, and I'm going to talk to everybody next week. We have the sizzle reel for it, and everybody loves what we're doing. So you never know. I'd like to get like a deal with somebody like on the internet.
Have you ever had any opportunities to work with Disney before this new series that you were doing?
Oh, with Disney? Not a whole lot. I just wasn't their kind of guy or something, you know what I mean?
Well, I don't get that because you've done everything from, the Warner Brothers world to Nickelodeon to Fox. Why wouldn't Disney want to get one of the hottest voice talents of our century?
I don't know. Maybe they're scared of me or something. I'm a total gentleman. I'm very single. And, I go to Europe and I meet girls.
Billy, I won't take up any more of your time. It's such an honor to run into you, and there's so many of your projects that I love, especially Futurama. Thank you for everything you've done, man.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
Good news, everyone. Bad news. You're listening to Erik Nagel. Poor people.
Well, that's it for the Comic-Con special here on It's Erik Nagel. I have been Erik Nagel. E-Rock Radio on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you, Gittles, so much for sitting in for Matt. Matt was running his own booth and had other things going during the Comic-Con, so we didn't get a chance to really use Matt for a lot of this stuff. So Brian was cool enough to, step in and help out and contribute to some of these interviews here, and pretty much just had a good time getting everything he could for free at Comic-Con.
Yeah, it was a really awesome time. Thanks so much for having me. I had a blast.
Thanks to everybody we got a chance to talk to. Thanks to Fox and Disney and NBC and Dark Horse Comics and
just everyone, like all the celebrities we met. Everyone was so chill. It was such a great time.
Right, everybody that hooked us up, and couldn't have been nicer. We had a great time. I'd love to do this again next year. Hell, I'd like to try to do San Diego if we could.
Let's do it.
If not, then we'll do New York 2015.
I'll start working on the Transformers costume that turns into a plane, and I could fly us out there on my back.
That works. I'm sure SiriusXM would love that because then they don't have to expense it. So we'll be back next week for another edition of It's Erik Nagel. Until next time, be seeing ya.
Later.
And that's all the time we have.